everybody, and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how I painted this rock titled Mama's Love. So stay tuned. So to start out with, I painted my rock black, and now I'm taking some titanium white and quinacridone magenta, and I'm just dabbing it on in kind of a random pattern. And I am using a Princeton Select round blender brush, size 12. So I'm going to keep going over this with several layers until I cover the background, being the black part of my rock, until I get that completely covered. And I'm going to switch up my colors using some purple and the quinacridone magenta and the titanium white. And I'm just doing it in a random pattern, and I'm doing wet on wet so that it blends slightly. So now that my background's done, I'm going to draw out my design. You're not going to be able to see it very well on here because the white doesn't show up very good against this color. But I will have a link to a line drawing on my Patreon page, but it's free for everybody. You don't have to be a Patreon sponsor. Anybody can get to it. The link to my Patreon page is listed below in the description. And I was going to try to go over it with the pencil to see if you would be able to see the lines better, but that wasn't showing up either, so I just skipped that step. Now I'm going to go in with some gray. This is a neutral gray. I actually have gray paint, but you could use just a mixture of white and black. And I'm going to put my base layer in, just block it all in. And what I do is I block in the mother's head and the trunk, and then I go in and I add the shadow where the baby's going to be sitting on the trunk. I add the shadow in, then I go in and paint the baby. That way I don't lose my lines for where the baby is supposed to be located. But really, you could paint the mama and the trunk in and then go in and draw in your baby and then paint that in so that you don't lose the lines. There's a couple of ways you could do it, but I like to draw out the design so you see me drawing it out so you kind of see how I do it. But when I do that, then as I paint, I end up painting over the line. So since I've already drawn it once, I don't always want to draw it again. So this is kind of how I go about dealing with that situation. You can see where I'm kind of shadowing in, and that's going to give me an idea of where the baby belongs. Otherwise, I would just block in the whole thing. It would just all look like one big gray blob. But now the baby stands out because the paint around it is a little darker. And I used purple to do the shadow. I mixed a little bit of the gray and the purple together to create the shadow. So now I'm taking my liner brush, which is from Holotap, and it's the 30 or a triple lot, however you want to say it. And I'm going to go ahead and outline everything. Now I could have done this instead of doing the shadows underneath the baby. I could have just gone in and outlined it first, but I wanted to kind of give you an idea of different ways to tackle this problem. Because if you don't want to outline, then of course you wouldn't be able to do this step. And some people don't want to outline their subject. I like the way it looks, and that's just a personal preference. And so I do that a lot, but now I'm going in with my gray and cleaning up some of my lines. I have carpal tunnel extremely bad in my right hand, well, in both hands, but really bad in my right hand. And I need to have surgery, and I keep putting it off. I'm thinking maybe next year I'll get that done. But it makes my hands shake. And then on top of that, drinking coffee or anything like that makes it even worse. So I have to clean up my lines a lot. But it's not a big deal. Just go over it with a couple layers of paint, and voila, it's like it was perfect to begin with. So now I've got my baby lined in. Now I'm going to go in and do the shading. And I'm doing the glazing technique, which is how I normally paint. And you can see I water down my paints with water to where it's kind of a thick ink consistency, I guess. There's a little bit of a learning curve doing the glazing the way I do it. But if you just keep practicing, it gets easier. I've been doing it for a long time, so it kind of comes natural to me. But definitely with practice, it'll become easy for you as well. I'm going to have to learn how to paint with my rock on the ground because it's hard for you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to have to quit picking them up. And there we go. We're getting close to the end. I just have to put in a couple of more shadows and then do his toes. Can't forget his little toes. I almost did. I got to the end of the rock and I thought I was done, and then I realized I hadn't painted in his toes. Oh, and I have to give him a little pink cheek. And cleaning up my black lines, my outlines here. And signing it. See, I signed it and then realized that I needed to do his little toes. I fixed her mouth too. I pulled her mouth out just a little bit. So I'm kind of cleaning that up. And now I realize I needed to put in the toes. So we're almost done here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell notification so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video, which is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.